Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's Alicia Brashe here at Cosmic Gateway. I am joined by my soul sisters, who basically don't need any introduction, but I'll introduce them anyway. You'd be very familiar with. I have Jo from Awakening to the Light Within. I have Jen from Infused with Light, and Anna from Betrayer. So thank you, ladies, for joining me on this little chat. And the reason for this is that we have teamed up and we've joined forces, and we have a program starting in a week. So that it starts on Wednesday, the 30th of September. And these ladies are going to be co-facilitating with me, and I'm super excited to share this space, and very, very grateful. So it is a Twin Soul New Earth Skills Program. That's the name that came through. So that's the name that is going to be used until it changes. Um, but it's basically, we'll go into it and we'll talk about it more in detail. But I guess I wanted to bring these ladies on, obviously, for multiple reasons. A, because they'll be co-facilitating with me and sharing their beautiful gifts and talents and support and love and just amazing energy. But secondly, this program has sort of formulated over a number of years. This is something I've wanted to do for a long time, but the push, the call became much louder this year, and it was through sessions, connections, conversations with these ladies that the content sort of formed itself. And Jen, I don't know if you remember, but kind of goes way back to, I think it was back in February or March earlier this year, and we were like connecting, and I was, I think, in a session or something like that, and the most poetic words came through, and that was what sparked it for me. And it was talking around gifts and skills and abilities, that when we go through a very extreme rapid ascension process through a twin dynamic, how we have, and I think, Jen, you're a perfect example of that, when all these gifts come on really fast and furious, and it was like that's a hard path to sort of manage, or can be, if you don't have the right support. And the words that came through were, they are fundamental foundational skills for living in New Earth. And I think it was that just triggered it off, sparked it off, and it was like, wow, we could certainly go somewhere with this. That was, I don't know, that just sat with me. And so since then, more and more and more information has come through, as it does, and then like connecting with you, Anna, and conversations with you, Jo, and it was like, oh, and this and this. And I think, you ladies have such varied skills and experience, and it's vast. So, it just kind of makes sense to bring people together who share a common journey, yet so vastly different, and, send that invitation out for those people who feel joined to connect with us and share that space and learn and grow and evolve together. So it was very specific in the details that has come through, that it was to start a week after equinox, and let's get into that in a second. But equinox, that we've just passed, September equinox, and that it would run for 6 weeks. And so when I looked at the calendar, I just laughed to myself, and I was like, that's incredible. 30th of September, 6 weeks exactly, ends on the 11/11 portal. And I was like, well, I guess it's just meant to be. So away we go. So I'm going to stop talking and sort of put it out to you ladies, and get your input and feel and thoughts of what you would like to share, or around the importance of the support of, I know, Jen, you were saying before we hit the record button, it's not an easy path. And these are the conversations that we always talk about, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the presence of you ladies, I I wouldn't be, I was about to say as sane as what I am most days, but I'm not really, I don't know if that's a good descriptive word, but you keep me on the straight and narrow. So for that, I'm incredibly grateful.
Yeah, I guess I'm coming out of a pretty intense purge at the moment. And I suppose something I would say is, yes, this twin flame journey is very challenging, but you will learn so much about yourself. And like Alicia just said before, my gifts are all wrapped up and tangled up in my twin flame journey. So if you're experiencing that, then I guess you might want to connect with me on that. That little fun area.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Oh, happy to go. Oh gosh, the journey. The journey. When I first discovered, felt like I was in some kind of perpetual hell on earth. And I think so many people potentially might resonate with the whole feeling of I just can't do this. And for me, connecting with other people, finding people energetically that resonate, finding people that you're able to share with, that they understand you. If you don't have the community and you try and talk to your friends about this kind of stuff, you lose them really quickly, which makes you feel even more isolated and alone. I know a lot of my gifts and wonderment and joy have actually grown from that, but it hasn't been an easy road, and without love and guidance and support and community and understanding and compassion, I think I would probably be in a straitjacket right now. So the importance of having those things, and being able to come back to the bigger reasons behind this feels so important, and I'm just so excited that that's being put out there for people to go beyond the almost romanticism that we all feel in the beginning, and then whoa, we're on this roller coaster ride, and you can't get off. So yeah.
I remember reading a post or a meme, I can't even remember, years ago, and they were saying, oh, this journey is like, getting into the mafia, like once you're in, you can't get out.
Blood in, blood out.
It's not The Notebook, guys. By the way, it's not The Notebook. I mean, we all love Ryan Gosling, but it's not the goddamn Notebook.
No, we don't get a house built for us at the end of it.
What?
Spiritual house, Anna, within.
Oh, damn it.
Or we just build new earth out of it. That's the house that we build.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I like.
Well, Jen, you're full of
I'm a writer, just rolls it out.
So many things. Sorry, Anna.
That's right. I was just going to add, listening to you guys talk about, it's not an easy journey. But the one thing that gets really, gets my belly fired up, I guess, is putting that to purpose, and not sitting in or wallowing in self-pity too much. I mean, we have days, I spent the afternoon crying for crying out loud, but you can get but you can get up and be of service to humanity, and use your pain and your experiences and lessons to help someone else, so it doesn't feel like it's just doom and gloom, because it's not.
Beautifully said. And I think the core fundamentals of looking at this journey from a higher perspective and seeing it from that vantage point, and then really being able to put that into action and motion is so enriching in your own life. And at least that's been my experience, and then what I've seen through clients and friends and soul family is that that's there's so much I could say. I'm like, just so you all know, we didn't sort of plan anything. We just kind of hit the record button as we usually do. We're just going to roll with it. But I think, Jo, you brought up a really important point, is that, I hear so often that I can't talk to my friends or family about this. They don't understand. They don't get the multi-dimensionality of it. They don't understand it from a vantage point of just a very earthly 3D perspective. It looks completely bonkers, and by design. And I think that when we're in that space where we don't feel supported or understood, that's where what you were saying, Anna, like the wallowing in self-pity and that, because you don't sort of have that community to help uplift you. And so I mentioned that, the content has sort of written itself, and I'm in awe when stuff comes through, because I'm like, wow, that's another new technique, that's another concept, and I get all riled up and I get really excited. But from the moment I put the call out, and then I go, so much is happening right now energetically, just on every level. And then I get into bed at night, and then the countdown's been on, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like this starts in a week, and I haven't done X, Y, and Z. And I had to kind of stop my humanness, and I was like, you know what, like the content is there, it's written itself, it will unfold, it will be exactly what it needs to be. But the importance of, I think, people coming together during this passageway between equinox and 11/11, especially in this year, feels incredibly powerful and potent and important. So, as I've mentioned, it is a pilot test run program, and that's generally what I do. Is when I get these new concepts, I don't know how it's going to go. I'm just called to roll with it, and that's how we go. So I have offered it at quite a low rate. Because of that, that's my gift. If you're happy to roll and flow in the newness of it, and be, the I don't want to say guinea pigs. What's a better word? The test drivers of something.
Forerunners.
Forerunners. That's a
way showers,
way showers,
navigators.
That potentially could be something that I will run ongoing. So obviously I'm going to put the details down in the description box if you feel called to it or want to learn more about it, or contact me. But some of the things that we were talking about before we hit record is that there will be weekly calls, and not everyone's going to be, I will, but not everyone will be a part of those weekly calls. And I was just saying to the ladies, I want it to be as active outside of the weekly calls as what it is. So it's really about joining together as a small community throughout that phase, and hopefully beyond, and form new friendships and greater awarenesses. But guys, what do you think is, I'm going to throw you a question now. So going back to what I said that came through earlier in the year, thanks to Jen, the core fundamentals of the skills of New Earth, what does that mean to you when you think about the skills that we're tapping into? Can you think of something that is personal to you, or something that you have observed of people popping open these skills and gifts and abilities, and how that's going to be part of our everyday function of New Earth?
Well, what do you mean, like our actual modalities, like through light language?
Yeah.
Okay, so and I'm not there yet, honesty. And I think it's something I just wanted to throw out before, is this is such a sacred space where you're encouraged to go to those places that you can't talk about, because it is in those depths that you will find a lot of valuable light, shall we say. So with light language, that bypasses analytical mind. How many of us are stuck in here, myself included, all the time? So in New Earth consciousness, heart-centered intelligence, everything acting out of heart intelligence rather than the programming and the mind. So hopefully that gets defragged, and this becomes the central intelligence system, a better CIA, if you will. That's how I kind of seeing it, and communicating to each other through love. So a lot of people who do speak light language, our consciousness our brain isn't really aware, but it's our heart's intelligence talking to each other. And it's not linear, it talks all over the top of each other, and it's more about how we feel. So hopefully that essence of love would be able to be vibrated into, and a different way of talking and communicating other than the structural ways that we've been shown through language.
I love it. I love it. And I know firsthand experience, and I think everyone here on the call knows from firsthand experience, Jen's epic light language, and all you have to do is sort of be around her, and it's a bit contagious because you want to start to tone and sound, and wow, at least that's been my experience. So who knows what you may learn with Jen along the way.
I love that. And I love, for me personally, what I'm talking about, the period of time that we're in at the moment, I like that you said about going from the conscious thought space to the heart space, because as Alicia was speaking, all I kept thinking was love, compassion, joy, harmony, community, you know, all of that kind of raising people up, and having all of, basically dropping a lot of the gunkier, denser stuff. But obviously in order to do that, we have to visit it. You know, we're not just going to all of a sudden make friends with shadow elements, or forgive or release or do those things without necessarily feeling them. And I think sometimes that we get stuck in that, and the brain takes over and the programming kicks in, and all of these other fundamentals come in. But I've always felt that there's nothing in the world that can't be overcome with love and compassion and joy, and finding those beautiful elements again. Conscious parenting, the way that we're treating our children, the way that we speak with our families, clearing ancestral stuff, is all that preparation for the new. And a lot of shifting from here to here is what I'd say massively, Jen. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I would love it if we just didn't use our mouths at all. We just like would sing, and our heart resonance. Well, it does have like when it's amplified, it just talks to each other. It's like when you sit in stillness with someone, whatever, there's just that love, and you don't need words because of that aspect.
Like, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because you feel it. The thing is, when you can learn to still everything, you can feel people, you can feel their energy, and that's such a beautiful space to be in. Yeah.
I was just thinking, actually, for anyone watching out there that's possibly thinking, what do you mean new earth? Like, we're already on earth. But just my explanation on that with the experience of Ascension, I guess, you know, working through fears, control issues, being able to surrender, replacing them with higher frequencies like love, compassion, kindness, understanding. For me, New Earth would, I guess, those embodying those traits and ways of being is what would contribute to New Earth. So, Alicia, maybe you should explain what New Earth is.
Sure.
Like, we can fly there?
Yeah, because I guess some people think, do you mean Earth is like, is that breaking away and a new one just magically pops up? Is there one coming in? Is there a bridge? How do we get there? Or is it, I've had so many interesting conversations with people, and I'm like, I have my own interpretation of it, but Alicia, you are possibly the guru.
Well, I don't know about that, and I don't know if I think maybe if I replace New Earth, because I have my own theories and philosophies and inner knowings, and I think that's kind of irrelevant. So I want to kind of replace it. I'm not going to change the name of the program, but if we replace New Earth with New Paradigm, so you know, as we know, going through this ascension process in our own and on the global scale, there's been so much of the breakdown of the old society and the old ways of being, and then it's this rebuilding, you know, so we're constantly breaking down, rebuilding. But I think ultimately in this collaboration, it's looking at the skills that come on that our hyper sensitivities, our telepathy, our energy subtleties, or not so sometimes not so subtle, you know, ways of operating it. And I think it's really about mastering over you know, the new ways of communicating, whether it's through the heart or the telepathy or the energy. And it's these things that get cracked wide open in a divine partnership or twin dynamic that come on really suddenly and can make you feel absolutely crazy if you don't understand or have the acknowledgement, the understanding and the refining of those skills. Because I really believe that once you understand them and acknowledge them for what they are, rather than thinking that you're crazy, and then you start to work with them, that's when the beauty starts to come in, and that's, you know, tied up in the essence of soul purpose and soul mission. And I think, you know, a couple of things, many things come to mind, but like Anna and I have sort of synced up of recent of this epic telepathic connection where, you know, we're plucking literal sentences and phrases out of each other's head. Or, you know, I'll be on the phone
listening to each other's conversations.
Yeah, I'll be on the phone to Jo talking about Anna, and she'll be picking up on it. And, you know, these things happen on a daily, you know, occurrence. I couldn't even go through them all because they just become such a natural part of our new way of being, you know, our new earth skill set, if you like. And that takes a while to adjust and for it to become the new normal, and then explore and experiment with that. And I think it needs a safe and sacred place to have it if you don't have access to that. And so the reason that it's kind of the fusion of the twin and the new earth skill set, and that's how it came together, is that it's not a program based on achieving physical union with your twin. If that is an offshoot of it, fucking fantastic, phenomenal.
Us too, if that happens, by the way.
You know, great. Oh, you know, that's the ultimate. But that's not the focus of it. If that comes as an offshoot during this program or after it, you know, that's, you know, it's kind of irrelevant, you know, because the greater purpose of the planetary ascension, moving into this new earth paradigm, is why we're all here on this wild, crazy, as Jo would say, batshit crazy journey. So
yes. And I kind of, when I was listening to you just then talking about the telepathy and the energy sensitivities and things like that, every single one of those things that comes and literally is like the fucked uppery of the mind goes, and all of these different fragments that come in at varying different points that can be incredibly challenging. You know, how do I manage this? This is overwhelming, or etc., etc. Each one of them brings you to a deeper self-mastery, to a deeper conscious awareness of all that you can embody within your journey. And the very essence of what's coming in that can sometimes be challenging, like you say, when you're working with it, you're accepting it, you're discovering it, you're exploring it in those spaces, they can turn into some of the most phenomenal gifts that you're going to receive in your life. So it's all good.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Did I answer that, Jen? I think I went off on a tangent.
Yeah, Anna was asking. Yeah, I think.
Oh,
So.
Anna, sorry.
Me too.
Yeah.
I always like hearing people give definitions of that. I think it just helps people have a bit of context.
Yeah. So, you know, once again, reiterating, like, the focus of that is that people who have gone through an accelerated awakening ascension pathway through a twin dynamic, I guess that's the people that we're sort of opening up invitation to. But obviously it's not limited to that because it's such a vast and varied journey. So, you know, we will be exploring so many different things around how to manage some of the craziness that comes with it for your own, you know, self-mastery, but also looking at refining the gifts and skills that have come through and honing that into how that can be best put into service, and what makes Anna's heart light up and get all excited. I think all of us, you know, I think that, you know, when we see someone really stepping into their gifts and abilities and finding, you know, the purpose of why they're here and start working with that, nothing gives us greater joy than to see that, honestly.
Yeah, I've spoken to a couple of people that the twin flame thing has become quite popular. But when I ask them, do you know what the purpose is of a twin flame journey? And it always surprises me that no one really knows. It's like, but that's the most beautiful part of it is, you know, putting those things, you know, to work, I guess, you know. And it does make the journey a lot easier. Like I know, you know, you and me, Jen and Alicia, we've spoken so many times, you know, some days where you kind of get up because there's a bigger picture at play and, you know.
We agreed to it, right? And I guess if you're in a position where you're questioning it then, and I had to check myself on this just in a matter of hours, they wouldn't have given me so many challenging aspects if I couldn't overcome it, to hold the light, to transmute it. So I think that's a really good thing, that this course will help you explore those depths, those limits that you can go to go there, and then see what comes out the other side once you push through that barrier.
And I'm still going to claim that I'm the newest twin in this gang. So still claiming that. So from my own experience as well, you know, having you three guide me and support me through that. And like Joe said, you know, you're not batshit crazy, and having the right people around you is so important. Like, I don't know where I would have gone in the last 6 months without the right people around me.
I've just literally got body chills go the whole way through me as you've just said that.
Did you like that, Joe?
I liked it. Do it again.
Do we have to keep this PG rated?
Twin flame ain't PG rated, not my books anyway.
Well, we know sexual energies usually get fired up in the twin flame dynamics, and you know, who's carrying it tonight? Maybe.
I like the way that you and I have just done the same face there, Jen.
Yeah.
And let's just say, I think it's safe to say at this point there'll be a lot of things be covered in a nice safe space, and I think that kind of comes back to your point, Alicia, of, you know, yeah, there's a weekly call, but stuff comes up all the time, and that's the importance of the community side of it. And when stuff comes up, you don't have to wait 3 days, 5 days, 6 days if it's come up the day after a call. It's that continual exploration and growth, and all that juicy stuff.
And I think, I guess if I think about it, you know, we touch on it so regularly on some of the videos and content that we do, but we don't really delve into some of the deeper places that we probably go to, you know, when we're not recording, let's say, you know. So I guess this is a time and space that if you just want to hang out with us for the next couple of weeks, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun too. So and look, I would just jump in, guys, because there's some stuff that I want to just
say, to encourage everyone who is thinking about doing it, that the more you open yourself up, and the more you're going to get out of this. Like, I think the more vulnerability you can bring to it, the more you'll really, really ascertain, because we want to know ourselves, right? Like union within ourselves, which everyone bangs on about. And I'm like, blah, 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 but that's a really important thing. That's real. That's how I think about those topics. But it is really important.
Yeah.
That's right. This is who I am. That's part of my.
Yeah.
I'm a very curious person. I ask a lot of questions, and these three know the amount of questions I ask. But I encourage that, because who else have you got to ask? And if you can't ask in a safe space, and I've asked all these ladies all matter of questions, nothing too extreme, nothing too out there, nothing too galactic. I really encourage you to explore that here, because it is only through knowledge that you're going to understand yourself better.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I think also, through conversation and connection, you learn so much, you know, even like just talking. I know that through conversations, I find my own answers just talking to you, because it's the energy exchange, right? There's like that sort of frequency that happens, and we sort of activate each other just through connection and conversation and laughter and silliness. And I think that's something that all of you bring to the table, and I'm super grateful for that, because we have to laugh about it.
So the silliness, yeah, I'm all for the silliness.
Aren't we all?
All for the silliness, team.
Although, as you were just saying that as well, Alicia, what comes to my mind is the amount of times that we'll be like, just chatting, any of us, just chatting, and it's oh God, I had this dream, and you can't decipher the dream, but you'll say the dream and someone else will get the download about the dream. Or when we'd gone on to record the other day, Anna, and I was like, I had this really random song stuck in my head, and it was a song to do with you. So the synchronicities, the signs, the dreams, it's that, like, just spilling it all out. Things then like slot together, and you're like, oh, I can't imagine how frustrating I'd find it if we didn't have that outlet, whereby it begins to make more sense from doing that. So that's it feels that also for me is a hugely important space, because sometimes I can find something going round and round and round, and then it's the right conversation with the right person. It's like, oh yeah, I get it. Okay, I get it now. So yeah.
Yeah, loads of epiphanies will probably happen.
Yeah, it's like what you say, Jen, it's a bit of an activation station when you that's a Jen saying.
I want to copyright it, activation station.
You have a lot of stations though. But Alicia always says with the twin flame journey, there's no rule. Everyone's different. But at the same time, and you guys would know this, I find myself saying, but can I do this and can I do that? And is that against my soul contract if I do it this way? And again, God, I would have driven myself bonkers even just this morning if I didn't have someone to verbalize that with, and, someone to, I guess, guide me through that process. So.
Yeah, in a space of non-judgment. We've heard a lot between all of us.
We might laugh at you, but no judgment.
It's laughter with love.
Yes.
I was just taken back then just into a time where I had come out of a really deep dark night, and yeah, I did have people around me, but not so much in a way that I do now, obviously. And I remember coming in contact with two people, and I just saw an exchange that they had, and I could see that they were vibing off each other. And I remember feeling to myself like, oh, I want that. If I had that, I think I would cope better. And then, of course you do. And now I look back and I go, wow, I built that tenfold. I'm so grateful. And I just want to be able to give and share that and broaden that community. And so, it's not just about the program. It's about building connections and community and people that maybe you will stay in contact with and, for a very, very long time.
Yeah, like I've made amazing, I've done some of Alicia's courses in the past, and lifelong friends like from those groups, so you'll meet amazing people too, like, and they are my extended support network.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking too, like, I've already had a handful of people already who have signed up, and I did say that there's a limited number of spaces. I haven't put a number on that yet, but I know that sometimes too much is there is a limit. You don't want to, and depending on how much interest we get, maybe we will do a second edition. We can be flexible to the the call, I guess, in what is needed, and being a pilot program, it will evolve itself through everyone participating in what we explore together. So yeah, so I'm excited. All the details will be down below. I mean, there's just so much that we can talk about, so much that we can cover, but I think we're going to leave that content for the program itself. Any final thoughts or words, ladies?
I'm mega excited to get to know people. Not sure that I'll make many of the calls, but in the group and things like that, obviously everybody, we will potentially be working with people and getting to know people. And I always find just people's journeys and energy and things, just, that's my face, right?
The benefit of you, Joe, is the time zone difference. So like if we're all, or most of us are nocturnal, but if we were, you've got Joe, there's like that support of time zone.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, when everybody in Australia is sound asleep, I whenever people get their insomnia moments, I'm there. It's daytime for me, I'm there.
I should remember that, actually. I was woken up at 3 o'clock the other day, and
Yeah, hit Joe up. She's there.
yeah,
That would have been like midday for me, Anna. You could have had lunch with me.
I'll remember.
Thank you for bringing that up. So the calls will be, even though I said, you know, we're not going to put a massive emphasis, but that will be at the weekly meeting point, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Melbourne, Australian Eastern Standard Time, over the course of 6 weeks. I've just looked at my notes here to keep into consideration that the time zone changes will occur during the, so this is the time that, yeah, that makes my head spin. So obviously we're going to go through a change in time here in Australia in about a fortnight, I think, and then followed by the UK. So just keep that in mind, you know, if you're wondering about what time it will be in, whatever you look at won't be the same as what it will be at the end of the program. And there's a part of me that's like, why would the universe ask me to do
Maths. Look.
The thing is, it's for some clarity, if you'd called me at 3 a.m, Anna, it would be 12, it would be lunchtime. The difference is if you called me at 3 a.m, that would be 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because you go, yeah. It ends up with a 1 instead of a 3-hour difference, forwards but backwards, which makes sense to me. I don't need anyone else to understand that.
That's why we have a time zone converter. I'll put all that there. But basically, you know, it's going to work. I mean, it's open to anyone and everyone who feels the call. You know, we are flexible.
And men, join us. Sorry.
Yes, absolutely. And couples.
Yeah. Everyone, anything, pets. No, I don't know if we could tell it. But it is open. I think a lot of times men are a bit hesitant and worried about it, but yeah. Is that allowed to say that? You might have to.
No, yeah, I think, yeah. More masculines are definitely more awakening to this kind of stuff, so it'd be nice for them to join us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think it is, I don't want to sound cliche, I need to find new, you know, it's a big pivotal time at the moment. Like, just by looking at my schedule, right, I think pretty much the majority of the sessions that I have booked in this week are all men and new clients. So, you know, there is quite a fundamental shift in men going through awakening and looking at exploring, you know, things like energy work that I do, which is massively exciting. And if they want to come in and participate on the program, you know, great as well, you know, because I do believe that the masculine feminine way is slightly different, and I think that just adds a different dimension to the learning experience. So
yeah. Good point, Jen.
Yeah, thank you. So don't worry too much about the time zone differences. They're just things that we have to, you know, accommodate and think about.
I was just about to say that. I was sitting there thinking, but what even is time?
That's
you know,
right.
Well, then we could go on a whole different, you know.
All our brains work. So.
But for those who would like to sort of have that context, so obviously Wednesday evenings Melbourne time, which is in European and UK time, is in the mornings on a Wednesday. In the US, I can't even get my head around that. But, you know, if you do all the calls will be recorded, and obviously, you know, there's so many different facets to it. So I guess that is an option too, if people feel that they want to join but can't make the live calls and just want to watch the replay, or some of the replays. You know, it's going to be a very flexible, kind of fluid flowing come together. So, you know, I think I wrote in the beautiful words that came through when I was writing about it, you know, we're really looking at unity on all levels. So within ourselves, how we can bring more unity within our own dynamics, unity with our soul purpose, unity with each other and with the community and humanity at large. So exciting times on the planet, and it's time to sort of come together and anchor in this, you know, new template, this new earth, and you know, exercise and refine our skills that come through this. And you know, I've always said that it is a very, very easy formula in my mind, is that along this journey, as long, you know, as we're following our mission and doing understanding ourselves and doing all our own process, you know, things like the relationship and that, they sort of take care of themselves. And it's not to discredit the learning that comes through our connections, but it's certainly taking in a different vantage point perhaps for some.
I just keep getting in my head, so I'm going to share it. It also feels like this, you know, we are in 2020. It will be a week after equinox, and then we will be hitting the 11/11 portal. If there's ever been a time to make this crazy, funky ass energy work in your favour, this is it.
Well, you know what? You know what comes to my mind as you said that, Jo? The BQH session that I did with you, the last one, I don't know, a couple of months ago, and there was information that came through about, you know, the Twin Flame Collective, and can you remember the words? Something about it was something along the lines of like the positive plot twists that will enter and occur throughout the second part of 2020.
Bring them. I'm ready for just a plot.
Yeah. there was also just having mentioned the masculine, there was also a lot about the major masculine shift towards the end of the year as well.
Was there?
So yeah.
Oh, yeah. Can you go get the notes?
I know, I'm sitting there and I'm kind of eyeballing all of my notes over there, and I'm thinking, oh, that would be a whole nother half hour, so we won't. But yeah, there was because of the whole structure of 2020 and what was happening was kind of pushing, like, I think the analogy was something along the lines of breaking rocks to get diamonds or something like that. But yeah.
Wow. And so much diamond energy coming in. Lipo, guys. There you go. White diamond energy.
And I think the higher the light comes, the more intense the process can feel. As we know, we're just past the equinox. It's been a biggie. Been a bit brutal.
Yeah.
And I guess that's another aspect and element, is that it's as an offering of being part of the program, if you do want to have additional individual sessions with any of us, that will be, you know, part of the offerings at a course rate. And so, you know, you can access things like light language, BQH, energy alignment, you know, or there's going to be a whole different sort of smorgasbord of different things that you can access if you feel invited and need additional or want one-on-one support. So yes, exciting. Jo, I really wish you had your notes, but anyway.
Honestly, I'm so close to just unprofessionally leaping over there and trying to find the right one, but yeah, there was a lot. If I remember correctly, there was quite a lot of twin information, but there was definitely the positive plot twists and things that were shifting, and there was. You're going to have to correct me, because I don't know if this is just conversations we've had or if I'm remembering the session. But wasn't there something around the how the whole new template was being incorporated in a different way as well, in relation to having to strip off so much old to incorporate the new template? Or is this just recollections of a lot of conversations that you and I have had recently?
Or a real-time download, or ship activity, or astral projection information.
I mean, ultimately, wherever it's come from, I feel it's valid.
Somewhere, somehow, it's coming.
What's also come into my mind too is like, I think, you know, when we talk about like plot twists, obviously they come with a certain connotation that, you know, something that happens that's not foreseen and kind of spins everything upside down. And obviously the positive ones is something positive that comes out of the blue, but it may not necessarily be in the way that we think. Do you know what I mean? I think there's so much shifting and changing that can mean, you know, so many different things. It's not what I'm trying to get at. It's not a straight path of like, do your healing work, get on your soul mission union with your twin. Like, there are different elements and aspects that come and interweave, and it makes up.
Alicia, because when I first started on this journey a long time ago, I remember finding literature that was like, you know, runner, chaser, this happens, do all your healing work. And then I've recently found through BQH and various other sessions that no, my blueprint, everything is not, and that's what you know, Anna, you said before as well, like, it's not, everyone's is so different, and that's why we have this group and this platform to be able to explore all that and go into that, because it's, yeah, we try to move away from the
stereotypical,
the hallmarky romance, like, if you do all this then this will happen. And I think you can spend a lot of money and time in those early days trying to do that stuff to get to an end result, when really it should be,
yeah.
I mean, I'm still learning that, but that's
Yeah, and some days I was saying to you guys the other day, I feel like I'm not doing it properly, or I'm not doing the right thing because I don't do it the way you guys do. And
there is no proper,
no, and Alicia said, you know, she pointed out, and, you know, maybe it was in my soul contract.
Yeah, I just remember that conversation came back to me. I was like, oh, that's got to go into one of the modules.
I found my notes. Yeah, write it down.
So I found my notes from conversations with Alicia about, like, oh, write that down. But yeah, anyway, we won't do that now. That's for the program. But
but all of us on the call have all questioned our contracts, so
yeah,
multiple times, sometimes daily.
Join us to question your contract.
I mean, ultimately, I feel like we do regularly say that whoever's next going up there and dealing, or whoever's next dealing with their team, or, you know, we're off in dream state, and we're kind of like in any council meetings and things like that. There are numerous occasions where there's certain things that we want to be brought up. In the essence of that part just was not okay. You know, yeah, fair enough. There was probably a deeper meaning to it, and I can probably see that I've benefited from this right now. But in the space and time it happened, not okay, guys. You know, you need to chill your boots a little bit, because that was a bit extreme.
That's cool in seventh dimension, but here, no, not cool. Like,
I know you're just like, hey, it's cool, they've got it, but humans, skin and all that, it's sometimes a lot, you know.
Yeah, because I don't cry. I love to tell my team about how exhausting crying is. Anyway. Welcome to our world.
So thank you, ladies. Just thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for everyone for watching. I hope you've, you know, even if you don't feel called, I hope you've got something out of this video and you've enjoyed it and laughed along and cried along. If you do feel the call, I will put the details in the description box below, or feel free to contact me or any of these ladies. And yeah, looking forward to kicking off and starting next week. So the gauntlet run between equinox and 11/11, here we come, right?
We've got this.
We do.
If we need to tag team it, we will tag team it, but we've got this, so come join us.
Thank you once again. Just so much love, and yeah, hopefully we'll be connecting with you soon in some shape or form. Maybe up on a ship, who knows?
Wow. See you there.
Bye.